Hi everybody. Welcome to Get It Right or Go Home webinar. 10 things I badly want to tell women with Jennifer Chinenwa Emma-Obadi. So, welcome everyone to this webinar. What this webinar is about is how to educate and empower women so they can be able to gain the right knowledge that would help them get it right in their relationships and in their marriages so they do not have to go home in the marriage. So this webinar is basically about empowering and educating women with the right knowledge that will help them have great marriages while attaining and living out their greatest potential. So quickly, let's get right into the webinar and let's begin. So the promise, right? What is the promise and the goal of this webinar? To show you 10 things you need to get it right in relationship and have a great marriage while attaining your highest potential as a woman. So this webinar is basically about showing you the 10 important things that you need if you must get it right in relationship and have a great marriage while attaining your highest potential as a woman. Now, I need you to understand that I'm very careful about my choice of word because the truth is marriage for a woman who wants an ordinary life and marriage for a woman who wants to be able to get to the toppest of heights, live out her purpose on earth and fulfill the goal and the reason why she was made and created. It's not the same. For a woman who wants to live out her greatest potential, she must be very careful about the choice of a life partner because for her, the person is not just going to be a life partner, but the person is going to be more than a life partner. This is someone you're going to be doing life with. This is someone that is going to serve as your support system. And so it's important that you get it right, okay? So this is my promise to you. In this webinar, my goal is to help you understand how important it is for you to marry right as a woman seeking to attain her highest potential and arm you with the right knowledge that will help you marry right. So here's what I'm promising you in this webinar, that you are going to be able to learn what's going to help you have a great marriage while living out your greatest potential. Okay. So who is this webinar for? Just in case you're asking, is this for me? Is it not for me? Should I be listening to this? Should I spend the rest few minutes of my day listening to this video? Yes, you should. If you're a single lady with a strong desire to marry right and you're ready and willing to put in the work. So this webinar is for single ladies with a strong desire to marry right and are ready and willing to put in the work. It's also for married women who truly desire to know what constitutes the foundation of a great marriage and are ready to fix theirs. It's also for every woman who genuinely desires to have a great marriage while attaining her greatest potential and shooting for the top. So this webinar is for you if you fall in all or any of these categories of women. Okay. So, who is Jennifer? Meet Jennifer. My name is Jennifer Chinenwa Emma-Obadi. I am a women development consultant and expert. I am the founder of The Extraordinary Woman, an entrepreneur, the CEO of Top Notch Creative Services. I am a kingdom addict. Yes, I love the kingdom of God. I love the Lord. I love to serve the Lord. And I co-pastor with my husband at Dynasty of Glory International Church. I'm a mother of two adorable sons and a queen married to her heaven-ordained king. Yes, that is who I am. So just in case you're wondering, maybe you're just meeting me for the first time and you're yet to get to know me and you're like, okay, so who is this lady speaking to me? And why do I have to listen to her? What does she have to tell me? Here is why you need to listen to me. You need to listen to me because I have walked the path you're trying to walk and I know what it takes and what it means. Okay, so here is my story, right? I almost missed the rare breed God sent to me to marry. Yes, and just in case you're wondering, so I'm just going to share a bit of my story with you, how I contributed to ruining my friendship and relationship, which was already at the verge of being sealed maritally. This incident made me to go back to search for what works and what doesn't work. those discoveries are what I am about to share with you. So, some years back, I was supposed to be married like every other young lady, and then I was trying to see. Okay, so just like every other young lady that was, hoping to get married, I had someone who I was supposed to marry, but there were consistent complaints about, okay, you need to work on this, you need to work on that, you need to work on that, and I always got that saying of, it's just a case of a pot of soup that is very sweet but was spoiled with a bag of salt. Imagine making a very nice pot of soup and you have to pour in a bag of salt in it. What's it going to look like? What's it going to be like? Okay, so I kept on getting all of those corrections, but a part of me was like, okay, really, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't really matter anymore. You know that thing that we always say, so if you love me, you're going to stay with me and all those stuff like that, right? So I felt the same way, but you need to understand that life doesn't work like that. Nobody wants to join themselves with someone who is going to be a problem for them in the nearest future, or who is not going to help them or aid them to have a great marriage. So I contributed to this, and long story cut short, because we do not have all the time for that story, the relationship ended. And so here I was like, okay, so could there have been something that I didn't do well? Because I like to take responsibilities for actions. I do not like to play blame games, right? I do not like to say, okay, it's because you're bad, it's because you're wicked. So I went back and I took responsibility. I started saying, okay, what is it that works? What is it that doesn't work? Where could I have gotten it wrong? Where could I have gotten it right? What could I do better? It's not just about this person. I want to become a better person first for myself, which is going to now be like an advantage for whoever I get to finally settle down with. And so the work began. And all of what I found out in my set is what I am going to be sharing with you in this webinar. So quickly, let's get on it. So first, discover who you are and become more self-aware. If you must get it right, you must first gain clarity about who you are and where you are headed in life, so you can pair with your kind. Understand what makes you you and what must help you to become you. What are your values, standards, belief system, and all of them. Understand the things you must do to attain and pair with who can support you do those things. So remember, there is a category of women that I am addressing in this webinar. Women who want to live out their greatest potential while having great marriage. So I'm not talking to women who don't want to do anything with their life aside marriage and bearing children, childbirth. No, I'm talking to women who want to live out their greatest potential, who want to do something with their life, who want to be committed to living the life that God has called them to live while having a great marriage. So we need a balance here. We don't want women who are one-sided, they have great marriages, but they are barely doing little or nothing with their life. And we don't also want women who are doing something with their life, but they are missing in action and they are lacking in their homes and in their marriages, right? So you must first discover who you are. Now, you are a woman on a mission, right? You cannot afford to get paired with someone who is going nowhere, or someone who is not going the same direction or the same destination as you are. That is the number one mistake that you're going to be making. So if you're not self-aware, if you don't even know yourself, then you don't even know where you're headed, then you don't even know who you should be pairing with, then you don't know a lot of things. And so you can't afford to carry yourself and go and pair with someone, because look at the danger of that. In no distant time, in the nearest future, you're going to find out that, oh, probably you have made a mistake and you have paired yourself with the wrong person, and things that drives you are not what drives this person. Things that you want to commit your life to, this person it doesn't make sense to this person. And hey, you have to understand this. Your spouse is your number one support system. if you're going to go out there and kill all the Goliaths and, do amazing stuff, then you must really, really get it right in your safe zone, which is your home, which is a place where you get some peace of mind that no matter what the world throws at you, you have a place where you're coming into and you have some peace of mind, right? So discover who you are. Get into self-awareness. Who are you? Where are you headed in life? Because remember, as a woman, you're a helpmeet for a man. What this implies and what this simply means is, if you do not know where you're headed, how are you going to be helping someone else to meet their own destiny? So, two things: you would either want to have a chaotic home where you're running your own and your husband is running his, or you will have to abandon your dreams, your visions, just to make sure that you support him on his. But if you gain clarity early enough, what this means is that you're going to be on the lookout for who you're on the same path with. So let me say I'm going to the US or I'm going to Canada. I'm not going to get joined with someone that is going on an entirely different route to an entirely different country. No, I'm going to get joined with someone that is going to the US too, but probably maybe we are going to different states or different streets or different destinations, right? So you must become more self-aware. Who are you? A lot of you are beginning to talk about marriage. You want to settle down. I need you to know that aside the glamorous wedding, aside all the that comes with the wedding day, after that, the reality of life will hit you, because nobody is going to be there with you, and you are going to be there alone with whatever decision that you have made when the rest of us are gone after the wedding. So that is why you must be very, very intentional. Get intentional about self-discovery, right? So I know that this is the place I am heading, and this person is heading the same way. So we both can support each other to get there. The next is, what are your values? You can't possibly want to get married if you do not have personal values, because values are what makes you. What are your standards? If you don't stand for anything, you're going to fall for everything. What's your belief system like? You can't possibly go and join yourself with someone that has contrary belief system, contrary school of thought, contrary values, contrary standards. How do you intend to cope? Because you're just going to keep having misunderstandings upon quarrels, and before you know it, you can no longer take it or deal with it, and you're headed for a divorce. So you have to understand that if you must get joined, then you must take your time to find out, who is this person? A person is beyond their looks, right? A person is beyond how they appear. Oh, this person is probably fair in complexion, tall, dark, slim, fat, whatever that shape is. A person is beyond that. A true person, what makes up a person is the spirit of the person, the spirit operational in the life of that person, the person's standards, the person's belief system, the person's value. So imagine joining yourself with someone that has contrary school of thought. Say about kids. What do you do in such a case? So you must take your time to find out, what values do this person have? What's the person's value system, right? Understand the things you must do to attain, and pair with who can support you do those things. Very, very important. You cannot afford, you can't be carried away with, oh, I love him, I love that, I love him, I love this. No. And let your values be things that are real and tangible. When I'm talking about values, I'm not expecting you to come and tell me my value is to marry a tall man. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What makes you you? What are the principles that will guide you in life? What are those things that, what are those set of principles, set of systems, set of structures that you have put in place that is to help you go through the journey of life and get to your destination? So, for example, you're getting married and you're marrying someone who has no regard for women, who believes that women belongs to the kitchen and the other room. Like, really? And you want to live out your greatest potential. It's going to be a big struggle, because the person is going to end up frustrating you, and in no distant time, you're going to tell yourself, you know what, I quit. So we're trying to see how we are able to curb wrong marriages by getting these things right. Is that okay? All right, so let's move to the second word. And just in case you're married already and you're asking me, so what do I do now? really your case is a special case because you now have to get back to redefining a lot of things. And most times for married people is peculiar, so I wouldn't want to give you a general counsel. So if you're married already and you're having this issue, so what you could do is probably reach out to me after watching this video, okay? So the next is communicating and knowing who you want to marry. Knowing who you want to marry is a very important process. When you have an understanding of who that person is, then you can know if he is fit and right for you. Knowing a person is not a function of how long, and this is where your discernment and spiritual understanding comes in. It is here you make all your necessary findings about who he truly is. Research and ask questions about his person, his family, what he does, etc. So you must be willing to dig deep. You cannot just want to marry a person who you do not know. You cannot just want to settle down and just get yourself joined with a person who you do not know. It's not going to work. So you must learn to find out who is this person. This person I'm trying to get married to, who is he? Communicate to the person. Find out about his person. Find out about his family. Make research about all of those things and be sure. Don't just get carried away by some certain things and maybe something that just happens and you're just carried away with that. No. So you must take your time to understand this person. Now, here's another mistake that a lot of people make most times. They feel that knowing someone is a function of how long. No, you don't define knowing a person by how long you feel you have known the person, right? It doesn't work that way. How long someone can pretend for so long, and that is why you must be discerning. See, I don't care how woke this generation is becoming, but you cannot do without the place of spirituality, because there are a lot of things that you don't get to see with your physical eyes. But if you're a spiritual person, you can be able to discern these things. You can be able to pick some, signals in the realm of the spirit to say, why this person is acting nice. I think this person has this. I think there's this issue. I think there's this. I think there's that. I think there's something that is not just so right about this person. So you cannot afford to say, I'm just going to know a person by how long. You can go out with a person, be in a relationship with a person for 10 years. You can even be married with a person for 10 years and you still yet do not know what that person is capable of. So I need you to get to a point where you understand this. You must work on your spirituality so that you're able to pick those things. And then that is why also in this part of the world, especially in Nigeria, you have parents go to make research about the person's family. Now, this research most times is important. Don't feel like it's not important. There are some things you need to know. Now, we're going to be dealing, of course, continuous. We're going to see, does it mean run? Not every findings means that you should run, but those findings are necessary and important so you know what you are dealing with. So you must learn about the person that you're trying to get married to. Stop being in a haste to just jump into marriage. Marriage is a long-time commitment. And hey, look, you cannot afford, you can't afford to make that mistake of marrying the wrong person, as that is going to destroy you. It's going to get you to a point where you're like, oh, I wish I never started this. It's going to get you to a point where you begin to question yourself, question your existence, question everything that you believe in. It's going to do you more harm than good. So rather than rush and try to rush into this thing, why not try to take out your time to see how you are able to understand the person you're about to get joined to forever. Like, we're talking about a lifetime commitment here, We're not talking about some sort of one day something that you just get to leave after one day. No. So that is why you must be patient enough to take your time. Take your time to discover. Pray along. Don't tell me I don't. And here's one other thing that people do, right? You wait till you're ready to get married before you start to pray about your spouse, or before you start. It doesn't work like that. You need to start praying even before you start talking about the marriage. Even before you feel that you're ready for marriage, you need to start praying ahead of time. So you cannot just sit back and say, oh, because I'm not ready, so no need to really pray. Let me not even bother myself. Let me not disturb myself. Let me not do all of those. No. No way. You need to start praying ahead of time. So take your time and try to understand the person that you are trying to get married to. Don't be in a haste. Don't allow people pressure you. Don't allow family pressure you. Don't allow all of those things to happen to you. Take your time and, make a decision that is going to profit you, going to profit your destiny. And remember, whatever decision that you make of a spouse is beyond you. It's not just about you, right? There are children that would be coming as a result of that relationship. So can you please do these children a favor by choosing someone who they will be happy to be their father, someone that they are grateful to you for making the person their father. So take your time and make sure you're choosing somebody that the children will look and say, mommy, thank you for marrying daddy. Really, daddy is an amazing man. Daddy is an awesome man. I don't know where who else that have been able to be my father if not daddy. All right. So ask the right questions. The next thing we're going to look at is ask the right questions. You must learn to ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. Ask about the things you believe in and hold in high esteem. What are those things that matter to you? Ask about them. What's your school of thought? Ask about them. Don't just ask. Make sure you're asking with the right words. Make sure you're phrasing your sentences the right way, okay? So ask and ask and ask and ask about all of those things that matter to you. Ask the right questions. Ask about your school of thought. Create scenarios and try to find out what his reactions would be. So in case this happens, create those scenarios. Ask about parenting. Ask about finance. Try to know what he thinks about finance, what he thinks about a woman having her own money, what he thinks about a woman probably even earning more than her husband. Ask all of those things. They are very, very important. Remember, you're a woman on a mission and you're a woman on a journey, and you cannot afford to just settle for anything less, okay? Ask as many important questions as possible. Okay, so number 4. As you discover, please know that not all red flags screams run. Now, here is one mistake we make in this part of the world. A lot of times we hear red flags, red flags, red flags, red flags. Now, some of the red flags, or maybe they're not really red flags, but I choose to use red flag because that is what we know a lot of these things for. But not all of them are really red flags, right? Some of them are pointers. So you must learn to differentiate between red flags and discoveries that are pointers to things that needs to be worked on. Some discoveries are meant to be eye-openers to things that needs to be fixed, as you too do not have a perfect life, past or family. So even if you do, know the difference between run and let's do this together. So you must be able to be clear about these two things. Know the difference between run. There are some red flags that says run. So you're in a relationship with a man and he hits you for the first time. Now, I know some people will say, oh, maybe the devil, he yielded to the devil. But I need you to understand that a man can only be tempted after his desires. A man cannot be tempted outside the box. Let me use myself for an example. I'm a kind of person that don't like alcohol. So it's not even a case of whether it's a sin or not. I don't see the reason why I should leave drinks that are sweet and are interesting and I'm going for something that is bitter. I don't get it, right? So for me, the devil cannot tempt me with alcohol because I don't even like it at all. So you need to understand that in as much as people are tempted, but men are tempted after their heart, there is an opening that gave room for that temptation. There are some things that no matter what they do to you, you can't do it, right? Let's say, for example, maybe the money does not belong to you and you sit on a table. There are some people that no matter what happens, they will not pick up that money because it doesn't belong to them. Instead, they would even go as far as looking for the owner. So there are some things that you can't be tempted with. So if a man at any point is healing a woman, even if it's spiritual, let us know that there is an opening that led to that. And we should be talking about fixing that. We should be also be asking ourselves the question, are we willing to wait? Are we willing to deal and put up with this for as long as it takes for this person to get better? So you must learn that there are some discoveries that are pointers that you're willing to work on. So let's say, for example, especially for someone that is a Christian, you go to a person's family and you find out that maybe there's a pattern of women returning back to the home. They don't stay married. Now, you're also dealing with another believer of course, for the guys, the wives will always go back. So this guy is also a believer, and he is a believer beyond reasonable doubt, right? It won't really be too nice for you also being a believer that you begin to judge him by his family patterns and backgrounds. Remember, keep this in mind. Generational curses are actions that were taken by a generation. So in as much as we decide to call them spiritual effect, now somebody decided to go serve a deity, somebody decided to go begin some incantation, somebody made that decision. So in as much as that there is a spiritual part to it, this is a decision of a man that has brought a generation to this point. So it also means that I can decide to begin to make fresh decisions that will chart the course of my generation and generations after me, right? So you need to get this straight. You need to understand this. Some of the discoveries you're going to be making in the course of your search do not mean you should run or you should leave the person. Some of them actually means, come on, let's see how we can work on this together. I believe we can do this together. So you must learn these two things, okay? So number 5, as you discover pointers, keep in mind that you are not Holy Spirit, the changer of life. So it's a two-way thing. Now someone will hear this, listen to this video and would say, hey, so she said that I should know that I can pray him out, or I should know that we can work it out together, right? I need you to also know that you are not the Holy Spirit, the changer of life. So I'm going to lay bare the options for you. While you work on the change you desire, know that the desire for change and the willingness to do the work that breaks and brings about change must be from both parties, must be from both ends, must be from you and the man. You cannot desire and enforce change on a person with zero interest for change. Note that again. You cannot desire and enforce change on a person with zero interest for change, except it's a spiritual case. Know the limit to your role in birthing your desired change. So you have heard that some things are pointers as to what needs to be worked on. The question becomes, how willing is this person to put in the work that is going to bring about the change that you both desire? So know that you're not the one that is going to really enforce the change. All you're going to be doing basically is to be a support system. The bulk of the decision, in fact, 101% of the decision to change or to remain the same lies with that person. And here is also another important question you must ask yourself. While I wait for the change, because change is not automatic, right? Change is not going to just happen in a split of seconds. It's going to take time. It's going to take a while. There's a process for change. Am I willing to deal with this? Am I willing to put up with this till this change happens? How bad is this to me? Is this a deal breaker? Is this something I can manage? Is it something that I cannot deal with? And so you must, in all sincerity, ask yourself all of these questions because you must get it right, okay? All right, so let's run. Knowing red flags and pointers. What's the gravity of the red flag? Ask yourself. If it doesn't change, can I deal with this all my life? Just in case it happens that this change never comes. Is this something I can live with? How important is this change and discovery to me? I wouldn't know what you've discovered. I wouldn't know what you'll be discovering. I wouldn't know all of those. Now, and I can't give you a generic answer for a peculiar case. So you need to ask yourself these questions. These are like guidelines that would help you arrive or come to a place of decision. What capacity have you built or are you willing to build to deal with this? Do you have the capacity for it? How far can you go? So I remember when people told me how I needed to pray more if I must marry an Edo man. Funny, right? So I can remember then people would be like, anybody I told that I was getting married to an Edo man, I'm like, hey, they are witches, they are this, they are that. I hope you have strength to pray. Can you pray? Will you be willing to not sleep in the night and pray? I was like, really? What's all this? Okay. But then I asked myself and I said, so Jennifer, did you plan to live a prayerless life? No, that's the answer. So what's the big deal about it? So you must learn, have you built the capacity or are you willing to build the capacity to deal with this, right? Who is responsible for this red flag? Example, family patterns. Now, there are some red flags, there are some pointers that the person is directly responsible for. It's not a family pattern. So let's say, for example, the case that I made of wives always returning back and leaving their husbands for a particular family. That's a family pattern. The men might not really be the ones responsible, or even if they are, it simply means that something is wrong with the generation. Something is wrong with their bloodline that needs to be dealt with if it has been happening for generations, right? So you must ask yourself, who is responsible for this red flag? Is it something the guy is responsible for? If it's something he is responsible for, then you must take your time to look at it and say, okay, how much do I see, how much desire for change do I see in this person? All right, so let's continue. Okay, so the next is check for compatibility. Okay, check for compatibility. Compatibility does not really mean being the same. It means complementing each other. How compatible am I with this person? Do my standards, values, belief system align with his? These are some very important questions you must be asking. So people think that compatibility means that I am a quiet person and he's a quiet person. No, that's not compatibility. Compatibility means I'm quiet and this person has a little of, some so small craze, right? And that brings about the blend, because really all of us can be quiet. What kind of family are we going to raise? Things are just going to get spoiled by that. So compatibility means that I complement this person. I complement this person in his area of weakness, and he complements me in my area of weakness. Okay. So how about sexual compatibility? How do I know we are sexually compatible? I get this question a lot of times. If I am not expected to test, I'm not expected to sleep with this guy before marriage, I need you to know that this is a very sensitive and important case, because the truth is this has destroyed a lot of homes. Now, when you begin to have sexual intercourse with a person before marriage, most cases, most times you're going to be making irrational decisions, because you're not even deciding from a sane point. You're deciding from a point of commitment to giving this person your body. How do I get to turn back now? How many more people do I want to share my body with before I get married? Can I just put up with this? There is no perfect man out there. All those kind of thoughts begin to come in. So you must take this as serious as any other thing. And let me tell you this, marriages that are built on the right foundation, hey, look, they last, right? They last, especially when the couples are willing to make it work. So how do I know if I'm sexually compatible with this person? How about sexual satisfaction, sexual styles? Do our belief system about sex align? So these are things that you must check for. Talk about sex before you get married. Talk about it. It's very important. Don't shy away from it, because it's part of what you're going to be doing inside of the marriage. So you must be able to talk about it. See, there are people with very whack view and mindset about sex that has really destroyed them. A lot of people have picked a lot of things from watching pornography. I heard of a story of a man who would not sleep with his wife except there is a third party. And these things are crazy, but they exist. So you must learn to talk about them. You must learn to talk about them. So for those asking, how do I know we are sexually compatible? Simple. If I don't get to start sleeping around and sleeping with everybody, the person that I get to sleep with is the compatibility and the level of satisfaction that I am going to know, okay? So you must be able to check for these things, check for compatibility, because it is very, 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 very important, and it's going to play a very huge role in you having a great marriage. Remember, you're not just having a great marriage, or you're not just trying to have a great marriage, you're also trying to shoot for the top. So this is going to play a very long role. Okay, so become who you want to attract. Most times we just say, I want Mr. A, tall, this, that, has money, And can I say this? Marriage is not some poverty alleviation scheme, all right? It's not. So stop going into marriage with that kind of mindset of going to go and divorce, carry out the man's money and back to your family and go and build house for your mother and father. No, you're not crippled now. Come on. You have two hands, you have two legs, just like the man. So become who you want to attract. That kind of man you desire. Start working on yourself to become such person, so you can attract him. Because the truth is, there is always that law of attraction that brings the kind of person you're becoming your way. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Who you are really is what forms every other thing that you get to experience on the outside in life. For those married, there is a principle of show me what you want me to do. So why not start working on yourself to become who you want your spouse to be? So you've talked, and this guy is not coming around, right? He doesn't seem to get it. He's not doing it. So why not begin to live it out? Why not begin to show him? Why not begin to step in and take the lead and show him how it's going to be done? I bet you by the time he sees that this thing is working, he's going to come meet you and he's going to say, you know what, I think I need to try this thing that you've been talking about for a long time. So enough of the talks. Can we get to work? Enough of the desires. I want Mr. This, I want Mr. That, someone with some top career, someone with this, someone making it big. Can we start working on ourselves to become that person that we want to spend the rest of our lives with? Okay. So, apply the law of attraction and focus on becoming the type of person you desire to marry. Work on those bad attitudes and stop covering up with, if you love me, you will accept me. It doesn't work at all. That doesn't work. So, learn to work on all of those bad characters. So, the next is set boundaries. You must learn to set boundaries, and this should not even begin in marriage. But before marriage, set boundaries for your actions. Come up with structures that informs your actions in the face of conflict. Come up with conflict resolution processes and systems. Set boundaries for in-laws and families. Set boundaries for finance. Set boundaries on how to relate to the past and the exes, considering each person's capacity. You must learn to set all of these boundaries. So, one of the mistakes that a lot of young women make, like a lot of news has been making way from the internet of recent of women who keep going back to their exes, women who their first child is not really the child they had with their husband, but is the child they had with their ex. You know, a lot of these things keeps coming up. And the problem is that you're not setting boundaries, especially for a woman who wants to go places. Now, you're going to get to a point where you're going to be flying all over the world, all over the country, going for one very important event, one very important business deal, something just important. And if you do not set boundaries, trust me, you're going to be jet crashing in no time. You must learn to set boundaries for yourself. What are the boundaries? What are the structures that informs your actions? If you're faced with a particular situation, you're faced with a particular conflict, how do you resolve it? What are the systems that you've aligned for yourself to pass through already? For the marriage, what have you come up with for yourself? If there is a little misunderstanding in the house, what are the systems? What are the procedures that we should follow? We shouldn't just act spontaneously, right? We shouldn't just act from what comes to our head. So let's say, for example, today we have a misunderstanding. It comes to my head to walk away, and I just walk away, get back in the night, and that's it. Another day it comes to my mind to shout, and I just no. There should be some already aligned, set out structures, systems that is going to help with all of those. Set boundaries for yourself. Set boundaries for the in-laws. Set boundaries for the families. Set boundaries for your home, how much you protect your home, how you let people into your home, especially as a woman who is going to places. Not everybody should come into your home. So set boundaries. If you must get it right, you must set this boundary, because if these boundaries are not in place, trust me, you're going to be affecting your partner, and before you know it, you're not going to be having a smooth marriage. Okay. So the next, understand the oneness concept of marriage. Very, very important. So we live in a generation that is beginning to develop an entirely different mindset about marriage that I do not really know where they got it from or where they copied it from. Marriage is a place for oneness, openness, genuineness, and transparency. Can we just call out all of this secrecy? Because it's not helping matter. And that is why I cannot understand how you shouldn't allow your spouse to touch your phone. I cannot understand how your phone should be a private property. If your body is not private, how much more a phone, something you bought with your money? Really? So you must understand the place for oneness and openness in marriage. Marriage is not a place for seeking your own. If you seek your own, you will fail. If you seek your own, that is why you must marry right. Because if you don't marry right, a part of you wants to seek your own. But if you marry right and understand that two has become one, I and this person, we are now one, then that thought is not even going to come up, right? So marriage is not a place to seek some personal interest, personal gain, or secrecy. Not at all. Marriage is not a place for all of those. If your marriage will stand the test of time, then the consciousness that you and your spouse are one must be there. That consciousness must be there at every point in time. Don't deceive people into marrying you by keeping important aspects of your life secret. This is very dangerous as it usually backfires and it's not something you want to deal with, all right? Learn the transparency of finance. There should be no my money, his money. Come on now, come on, let's talk, women. You know, we do this a lot. So you come to a family and you hear things like, his money is our money, my money is my money. Who told you that? That's a very wrong mindset. That's a destructive mindset that is leading you for doom. Because you now get to a point where the man is beginning to have trust issues. The man begins to feel like, I think to an extent, this our partnership is to an extent, it's not really in all things. You need to understand that there is no my money, his money. There is no his money, my money. We have become one. What he owns is what I own. As in, his is mine. Now, okay. Now, let me say this. This also doesn't mean that in some place of documentations, we shouldn't have proper documentations, especially in purchase of properties. A lot of women make these mistakes. Now, the problem is not about your spouse, right? But the problem is about protecting yourself, protecting your family, and protecting the devourers of your home. So let's say, for example, you want to buy a property with your husband. Always make sure, don't have Mr. and Mrs. Okeke. That doesn't work. Have Mr. John and Mrs. Jennifer Okeke. That way you and your partner's name is there. All right. So that's just on the side. You must learn to seek the oneness concept of marriage. This is very important. Don't seek personal interest. Don't seek personal gain. You want to give your own family money, but his family don't get anything. It is wrong. You're not going to be raising a good home by doing that. And if there are secrets that you've had in the past, okay, now this is very tricky because it also depends on the person's level of maturity. But if it's important, then that person has to know. Also, some other times people feel like, and they say, don't bother because you don't have, I have secrets, you have to, let's all leave our secrets in the past. We are good. What matters is what to do from now moving forward. So if you get that kind of partner, good, that's also okay for you. But long story cut short, make sure that you're seeing your spouse as one. Okay, so we're gradually coming to an end. Yay! I hope you're getting value already. I hope you're learning something. Remember to send me your review. Tell me how impactful this webinar has been for you and let me know how it has been able to help you. Okay. So the next is spiritual maturity and routines. I know this generation have become so woke, right? They don't care about spirituality. They don't care about, I wish there was another way out. I wish there was another way to tell you this. Now, I need you to understand that you must believe in spirituality. Whether this generation believes in spirituality or not, whatever personal result that you want to have, you must be determined to follow the process that would help you gain that result. Their unbelief in spirituality is why lots of marriages are failing in this generation. That's the truth. The unbelief of this generation in spirituality is why we keep having divorces on the increase, because they are dealing with a lot of things, right? So hear me. A thing cannot function properly outside its source. Marriage is more of a spiritual affair than a physical affair. God is the one that instituted marriage, and you cannot take a fish and want to make it live outside of water. Really, that fish is going to die. It's going to suffocate. I cannot state enough the benefits of marrying a spiritual partner and being spiritual yourself. A lot of issues will not come up because you function from a higher dimension, you function from a higher realm than whatever it is you're facing. And that is why you can see people that probably they're having a misunderstanding, but they come to meet themselves and they're laughing. They're like, oh, no, just do that thing again. Okay, so that's Nigerian pidgin. Don't do that again. That thing you did, don't try it again. Don't try it again. So you need to understand that spiritual maturity and routines are important. Learn to study, learn to pray together as a spouse. Have time to study together. These things are important and really they matter. I wish there was another easy way out, but hey, look, if you want to have a great marriage, there is no other way, because a lot of things that are even happening on the physical are not caused on the physical. These things are caused spiritually. And so you must be able to learn how to take charge in the spiritual realm and begin to call forth the things you want to see in the physical realm. All right. So note these things. Your marriage is an outflow of who you and your partner are. Right? Be ready to put in the work. That marriages, even if it's a marriage made in heaven, it's going to be coupled on earth. And both of you, it's not a one-sided thing. That's one other mistake that women make. They feel I can marry on his behalf. I can do the work. No, you're going to over labor yourself. You're going to wear yourself out. So please understand that the quality of marriage you're going to have is dependent on the quality of your person and your husband's personality, of course. Okay, so learn to appreciate and show gratitude. Very important. The place of gratitude is very important. When your spouse does something to you, show appreciation. Stop having some sort of entitlement mentality and, oh, he should have done that now. Oh, he's not my husband, so why didn't he do that? So stop having all of those. Learn to appreciate and show gratitude. Okay, marriage is not a poverty alleviation scheme. Be financially responsible for your life too. This earns you more respect. Stop seeing the man as your ATM. He is not. Go and also work for yourself and make something for yourself. Submission is an important aspect of marriage. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. It's for other in marriage. There is a reason why we have structure. We can't have two captains in a boat, right? So there is a reason for all of those structures. And can I tell you this? Do you know that as a woman, your secret power actually lies in submission? I'm not going to be able to cover that in this webinar. No, I won't. Of course, there is going to be an opportunity for you to be part of the inner circle of Get It Right or Go Home, where I share some deeper things with you. And so if you want to do that, then you can join us on that, okay? You can send me a message to make inquiries about that after now. So your secret power actually lies in submission. So can you get and start using it? Submission is important, and that is why God gave us the right to choose. He gave you the right to choose. He didn't just lord a man over you. So choose who can head you. Choose who you can submit to. But once you've made a choice, hey darling, go ahead and submit. Okay. So learn to shower that man with love and respect. Very important. Shower that man with love and respect. So invest in your love life. Invest. Anything you don't invest in cannot grow. Investment is not one-sided. It's not for the man alone. It's a two-way thing. Invest your time, emotions, resources, finances. All of these are very important. Get to pay for consultations, read books. You just cannot grow without some new knowledge, right? For example, you just watched this webinar and you've gotten some fresh knowledge. Okay. Invest your finances in the growth of the relationship and also in yourself, so you can gain more knowledge that would help you become a better person for that relationship. Now, a lot of times we don't invest in ourselves. Remember, the quality of marriage you will have is dependent on the quality of your person and the quality of the person, your husband's personality. So we can't talk about investment enough, right? It is very, very important. Remember this: time waits for nobody. Time is life, and so if you waste time, you waste life. If you think knowledge is too expensive, come on now, then try ignorance, and you're not going to like what you're going to see. Okay, so yep, we've gone to the end, and I'm sure by now you must have learned a lot. I would love to know how you feel after watching this webinar, right? Let me know. So how many of you are excited about all you have learned? How many of you? How excited are you? How excited are you? Tell me. How excited are you? I would love to get your feedback, and I would love to hear about that. So how many of you are also ready and determined to get it right? And for a second, can you ponder and ask yourself, what will life look like for me if I marry the right person? Oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I don't get to say it enough, but it's a very beautiful experience. You have peace of mind, you have joy, the happiness is unquantifiable because you can't really measure it, right? So ask yourself what life will look like, and then decide if you're going to start doing the right things or not. So introducing Get It Right or Go Home Inner Circle. Okay, so Get It Right or Go Home Inner Circle, it's happening. It's actually in batches, and then I would be making this open to as many of us that would want to join. So you're going to have access to our 6 super master classes, mini coaching, and one hour one-on-one consultation with me that is usable within 6 months. Okay, so these are the courses that we're going to be having: self-awareness, how to find the right partner, the waiting season, the marriage and purpose, finding a balance, be the boss chick and his baby, full course. Okay, for those that got the ebook, that is just a snippet of it. And of course, we're going to be having sex the secret too, and I'm sure you can see all of those bonuses. So hey, it's time to make some investments in your life. So if you want to be part of the inner circle, do well to reach out to me and let me know. Of course, we're not going to be having the April batch. Once you reach out to me, you're going to join the wait list, and I'm going to let you know when the next batch is going to happen. Okay, so yep. This brings us to the end of today's webinar. Remember to send me your feedback. I would love to know if you have learned. And then, of course, I am also going to be open to answering your questions. So do well to send in your questions to me, and I'm going to love to answer that. Okay. So just in case you're wondering how you can reach out to me, here is my contact. You can send me an email at officialjenniferchinenwa@gmail.com. You can shoot me a WhatsApp message at +2348093602938, whichever one works for you. All right, people. So thank you so much for taking your time and watching this video to the end. Yay, you made it. Thank you for attending. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. So remember, my name is still Jennifer Chinenwa Emma-Obadi, and till I come your way next time, make sure you stay safe and stay good. Bye-bye.